Hey Taurus, welcome to Catalyst Energies and welcome to your astrological forecast for the second lunar quarter. We are looking at January 9th, 2022 to our Cancer full moon, which is going to be on the 17th of January. So we are beginning this forecast with an Aries moon that is going to be squaring the Capricorn sun. So welcome back, everyone, and welcome to, if you're new to this channel, thank you for stopping by. If you haven't checked out the general weekly astrology report, you can do that by linking to it at the end of this video. If you're on YouTube, and if you're on your BitChute, you just scroll down and you'll find it. It has the same name as this video, and it's a general overview of the week. And so this is really meant to just check in with Taurus rising, Taurus moon, Taurus sun, and get a general overview of the areas of life that the main transits are going to impact. So as we get into the week for Taurus in particular, it seems more conceptual than it does maybe concrete or material, which is interesting for a Taurus person. And I think that is exactly the point, is that there is a lot of energy right now for the Taurus person in belief systems with all this Capricorn energy that is about to go through a real catharsis. This full moon in Cancer is going to be opposite a sun that is in conjunction with Pluto. So the Taurus person in general, I think, has been going through this metamorphosis of belief, right? That's the ninth house, is your broader horizons that allow for a broader understanding of the meaning of life, essentially. This is where religion and dogma and philosophies really reside, is the ninth house. So when we talk about this, it's the higher mind. The full moon will be in the third house, which is really much the function of the individual mind, so the consciousness itself and knowledge and the acquisition of knowledge, third and ninth house. But you see here the moon in Aries too is in the 12th house. Chiron's in the 12th house. There's such a sensitivity right now, so much for the Taurus person to the collective's wounds and the collective's karma, and certainly with our with the Taurus person with their own karma in relation to all of this in the 12th house. But it's, Taurus people are our future. And so having this experience of being able to tap in not only to their own, wounded inner child, the victim status of Chiron over here, right? The wounded healer right now in this particular, not only this week, but the whole lunar cycle that started with the new moon in Capricorn. For the Taurus person, it's really there are belief systems and doctrines and a sense of understanding that are on their way out and have been for a while. And we're in this really deep inventory moment here with Venus retrograde in the ninth house as well in Capricorn. And so for other signs, it may be more direct or concrete, but it's very conceptual for Taurus this week because you're talking about the higher mind, the knowledge versus understanding, the realm of the 12th house, and also, too, just the social context in general, because you have Mercury that's going to station retrograde this week in your 10th house. So a lot of this really incredible mental energy that everybody's been experiencing in the last week that has just been so intense and clear and very focused, like a laser. It's in the realm of the materium for the Taurus person, and in particular institutional power, social power, your mission, your career, your public and professional life. Not only have you had incredible mental acuity in these areas now, and it will station retrograde, so you'll have some time to really process this. You also have Saturn here, which is incredibly powerful in the 10th house, Taurus. So these two aspects are also really anchoring you to a mission, while other aspects are falling away in terms of belief systems and having to really navigate a space that it can be very difficult when you are free-forming and sensitive not only to your own wounding but the collective's wounding in general, and how that is even more so friction with this metamorphosis of belief system, because I think that this is ultimately where everybody is struggling, is in this process. And for the Taurus person, it's so much in the areas of how we all function together that it's because you have Uranus in the first house, you are the future. And so being able to go through these processes for the Taurus person is really, it's very conceptual right now. And keep in mind that the nodal axis of the moon is soon to be moving into your first and seventh house. So the karma of the collective and the soul journey we're all being pulled on is really going to be towards who you are, Taurus. So going through this particular process, and really at the full moon, not only are we all going to have a culmination moment of where our own emotional security truly is the most strong and consolidated, and where it's not, right? What we need to let go of at the full moon, and certainly what has worked and culminated so far. But it's going to be in the realm of what you know, and your immediate environment and the people you interface with on a daily basis. And what's interesting is, as your third house being Cancer, is a lot of, I would say, a lot of the learning and the language is very much about the family, and very much about the cohesion emotionally. And that will certainly be a lot of the mental focus. And so, but again, conceptual, about what you know, what you think you know, what kind of information that you've acquired so far, and what have you learned so far that is, I guess, allows you to have a sense of fortitude and return back to some sort of center of who you are. But it's going to be much more in concepts, and much more in what is it that your individual mind and consciousness is able to, what it has absorbed so far. And your immediate realm, is it stable? Is it going to support you? Is your mind going to be the shield around your emotional security? Because when the conceptual world starts to fall apart, and there's this massive catharsis with the sun and Pluto opposite that full moon, you want to make sure that your mind is like a steel trap in some ways, Taurus, or certainly that the free flow of ideas in your mental sphere has something that is strong and thick. Not so thick that you can't allow some sort of interface, but you want to know that your mind's going to be safe. Your immediate environment is going to be secure, that there is a sense of who you are emotionally when this cathartic moment in terms of the larger belief systems really starts to show itself. The best way, I think, for a Taurus person, honestly, to make the best use of a very uncomfortable journey through the pain of the collective, spiritual pain, the karmic pain of the collective, now I'm feeling it, is to put your outward energy from Mars, right? Mars does act on its own self-interest. Mars does rule Aries. This should be a very seamless, especially in Sagittarius. This could be a very powerful and almost seamless output of energy that is towards procuring that which you have already produced in the context of your interpersonal relationships so far. Right? Mars in Sagittarius is going to be the last Sag that we have. The South Node is about to leave Sagittarius. So we're saying really goodbye, and also putting that a really strong, impulsive and front-leaning, energy, the divine masculine of Mars, pushing out in terms of the meaning of things, right? Sagittarius. And so Taurus, if you are really struggling with the deep feels about the the collective's pain and karma and the balancing of accounts at a collective and spiritual level, especially when you are really finding your voice, or at least expressing yourself through belief systems that may actually not, that are going through metamorphosis and change. You can, at the very least, find expression of that individual energy, or acting in self-interest, in not a selfish way, in a way of like your ego does need to act on its own self-interest to survive, in what you've procured already in the realm of the 8th house, right? Mars is hungry in the 8th house and is fearless too. This is exactly, you want a warrior to take you into these areas that you need courage, and you have exercised courage, Taurus, and now you have the wisdom to be able to see where things are going and procure from that understanding and from that journey that which you will need bringing into the 9th house. Because when Mars comes into Capricorn, you're going to have this whole renewed initiative in terms of building new understanding or new transmutational types of experiences. So the best way, I think, is to not get too caught up in the feels of it, but to allow those feels to be like the energy that then Mars harnesses as the output, the emotional energy to output into that 8th house of look where I've gotten to this point. I have journeyed through the dark night of my own soul, and I have something to show for it. And that is, I think, going to really help with an otherwise very, I would say, disturbing and painful type of transit with the moon through Aries in your 12th house. So as we go through the week and leading up to the 17th, there's a couple things. So Mars it comes up again because it's going to be in a square to Neptune. We're going to find that at the very same time, the Sun is going to be in a sextile to Neptune. So for as much as we are all going to use this personalized divine masculine energy to procure that which we have come to understand through our process of understanding, it's still not going to be a match for Neptune in Pisces, which is dissolving everything he touches. And for the Taurus person, it's in your social networks, right? This has certainly brought a strong spiritual and transcendental power to the social organism as a whole that you're part of. And now with Jupiter here, there's a capacity to manage this experience in a more, just like with more leadership, I suppose, and the ability to manage, right? Because there's action with Jupiter normally because he rules Sagittarius. So coming into the 11th house, there's certainly more of a spiritual, awareness of social issues and wanting to act in accordance with that. Whereas with Neptune, for years now, Taurus, it's just been really amplifying the spiritual, imaginative nature of society in general for you. Or for the Taurus person, this could have just really blurred the lines so much that you don't even know, you're not even tapped into reality, perhaps. I mean, that's kind of worst case scenario. But as much as we have maybe output our energy in that moment with the Mars in Aries to procure, give us the emotional, the emotional energy to procure that which we have worked so hard to understand, it's still not enough. We can't just fake it till we make it. We can try, but we still have to, we're still at the mercy of Neptune and Pisces that just dissolves everything it touches. And especially a mutable square with Pisces and Sag, it really does just blur the lines. And even though you know what to expect in terms of this power dynamic, the space in between the relationship, the production, right, of our ritual binding agreement of the 7th house, the power that's generated here. Even though we know where it's going, just make believe or pretend or even playing, as powerful as that is, it's no match for being completely melted into the experience. This is doing performing the ritual. This is especially Mars in the eighth house. This is definitely acting out towards the union to merge. But in terms of that is a different energy than just being completely consumed by the social organism as a whole, because then you lose yourself. There's no initiative here. It's just completely melting into it. So you can see how this could just like disempower this energy in the eighth house almost immediately. But what you do have, Taurus, is the sun in Capricorn at the very least is really showing we're trying to find ourselves through the power of, the collective institutions and the solidity for the Taurus person in their belief systems. And that is going to allow for much more of a swimming in this ocean as opposed to being doused by our fire, being doused by the huge wave that might come through. This is much more of a surfing type of thing, or certainly, a surfing type of thing, right? And it has a lot to do, not as the individual, but the individual in harmony with a group of other people that have the same goal in mind, and there's a dynamic interchange. Everybody's doing their part, and it's actually building to something bigger. That is going to allow us to swim, and the Taurus person essentially, to swim through this nebulous social reality right now, more so than trying to act in accordance to personal will towards, I know where it's going. Like, I know where it's going. Sometimes you just have to be where you are and continue to participate in making the situation. And in this case, for the Taurus person, it's in your belief systems and the larger understanding of and the meaning, right? The spirit of the law is the ninth house as well. So forcing something isn't going to necessarily work, but this is much more of working together in a conceptual way that'll allow the Taurus person to not completely be taken over by society, right? Society in general. It doesn't mean that there won't be this incredible catharsis when we get to the end of the week, because there will be. And we're going to look at that right now for the Taurus person, because it is the sun. Oops. I meant week. Sorry, guys. It is the sun and Pluto coming together, which is the catharsis. Let's go back a day here. And that's important too, but we'll get to that another day. It's these two coming together at the Pluto return opposite of this full moon, just like I talked about, is your mind and is your nervous system and is your immediate environment and the way that you communicate with people on a daily basis. Is it really actually, if you return back to the source of your stability, is it going to maintain itself in the face of this cathartic moment of destruction of the larger security fortress that is your belief system? Just be prepared, Taurus, to have your belief systems this if you've been waiting for this will be incredible. If you are sideswiped by this either way, it's cathartic, but how this full moon is experienced will have a lot to do with how you've been addressing all of these things up to this point. So Mercury will be retrograde at this point, and will come back into a sextile with Chiron in its retrograde. And again, this is going to give us an opportunity to process maybe something that was really bright, really intense, and a really strong, conceptual knowing, but now we get to internally review it and proof it a little after the full moon. And seeing, especially if we're talking about Mercury and the third house, Taurus, this really will show if your mental stability, your immediate environment, and your very nervous system has the protection in order for you to, I would say, be able to process these very intense mental concepts. Mental concepts that are coming in around what your mission is, what your contribution is. Because, as we go along, I mean, the Taurus person, especially as the sun comes into Aquarius and we come into an Aquarian new moon, it's full on into the actual materium at that point. So being able to really manage this incredibly potent moment in terms of concepts, Taurus, even though that's kind of it's not necessarily what the Taurus person normally would be focused on or be the most comfortable with. But like I said, Taurus, you're the future. You got Uranus in the first house. The North Node's about to come into the first house. I mean, it's really focused on you and changing, and the fact that you're able to wake up through this consistent changing of your very persona. And it's very much connected right now to belief systems, and has been for a long time, because Pluto's just been in Capricorn for years and years. That's slow burn. So Taurus, it's very conceptual, right? Very conceptual, and very much about your mental health, I would say, and how you feel about your immediate environment and ideas and knowledge. So I'm going to leave it there, Taurus. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. If you're interested in a reading or anything else that I can offer, you can follow the links in the description box below. You can certainly stick around to the end of this video in order to link to the weekly general astrology report, and also to get some more information about how you can support this channel, how to get more information about Catalyst Energies, and just in general to listen to some really cool outro music. So I love you guys. Thanks for being here. I'll see you on the next video, which will be the Aquarius new moon in February. Take care. Have a great day, evening, whatever. Bless you. Talk to you later, Taurus. Bye.